Hey, welcome. Glad to have you here. We're going to be talking today about the current state of these technologies we've been dealing with. This idea that tech is hot is an understatement. One of the reasons you're in this class right now is because it's becoming a significant competitive advantage if we can master the idea of technology working in the three spheres in which we talk about. Now, in the past weeks, we talked about the four components of the stack, and they're listed there. Now I'm going to change that terminology a bit. We're going to talk about four key tech categories, just a slight rewording on three of them. Basically, data infrastructure CDPs, number one, and then omni-channel orchestration platforms and channel-specific execution tools. We'll stay with number four, being measurement and optimization. But basically, it's just a phrasing I want to kind of set the record straight for on this beginning of this video. So let's look at data infrastructure and CDPs. CDP. It's a software that combines the customer data from various sources, right? It gives us a chance to kind of bundle it together, make some sense out of it. Salesforce is a great one. And then we look at something that we would, affectionately call the data warehouse, if you will. What is that, Then we look at something called the data warehouse and lakes, cloud-based data infrastructure that basically stores and allows us to process first-party data. Third, identity resolution systems. We did a deep dive in this in previous video, and it's the specialized tools that we have that kind of help us really find the prospect and more discreetly identify them, eliminate some of the ugly, poor data that is gathered and not verified. So identity resolution systems are part and parcel of a clean data operation. Second, omni-channel orchestration. Orchestration is what this is all about, enabling true cross-channel customer journey management. Something like Adobe Journey Optimizer is one. A content experience platform, which is basically focused on delivering consistent experiences across channels. This often incorporates AI. Yes, of course, the magic two letters. Finally, communications experience platforms. Now, these are much more related to things like public relations in many cases. That's where it came out of. But they integrate with major paid media channels, which is the AdTech environment. So we're seeing this overall connection between the various technology platforms coming together. They now integrate, as we say, the major paid channels reflecting ongoing convergence of MarTech and AdTech. An example there would be something like Notified. An example of content experience would be Contentful. And then I talked about Adobe Journey Optimizer. The channel-specific execution tools would be something like the Trade Desk, which is a programmatic advertising tool. It allows us to negotiate, to buy, to exchange, to barter on available media. Now has expanded, mostly digital, now is expanding toward into CTV and digital out of home and so forth. So much of what we do in marketing advertising now is digital, right? That's why it's just kind of overtaken. We can't forget about traditional media, but things like the programmatic advertising channels have really expanded their capabilities. Secondly, the social media management platform, something like Sprinkler, which expands beyond publishing and listening into actually encompassing community management and understanding how do we put people together and how do we actually create more conversations. Finally, the corporate communications platform like Notified. These specialized tools are really PR tools. Many of you work in PR are familiar with these kinds of tools. They're used for corporate messaging. They're used for, other kinds of connections to key constituencies. Fourth, measurement and optimization. Back in the day, way back, we used to think that the only innovation that occurred came from 3 martinis and a bolt of lightning. That was a boss of mine used to say, because he liked 3 martinis and he thought he was getting a bolt of lightning. Can't do it that way anymore, and we really need more sophisticated kinds of understandings, like A/B testing to kind of give us some, and AI to give us some creative ideas about the way we might fashion content and messages. But the second component of this, how do we measure it? We've always been at a disadvantage with our brethren that have had a lot of tools, like the finance people or the accounting people that have had numbers to deal with, and the bosses, she likes that stuff, right? I mean, she likes to see what's going on here. How are you really making my day? And back when we used to think, hey, if the cash register is full, we're doing well, those days are gone. Marketing mix modeling is what this all leads to. The Analytic Partners, for example, does a great deal of optimizing investments in marketing channels. Where do we go? When do we go? When do we say it? And then thirdly, the AI-powered optimization, which is the tools that automatically optimize content, optimize A/B testing, the timing of messaging, the channel selection even of when and where and how we get the message out and how we listen to our customers. Something like Albert is a good one. I've got a little explanation down there too about CDP versus SaaS or SaaS. That's something that you ought to take a look at if you're confused at all about what those two things are. SaaS is basically software as a service, and it's the means by which we deliver CDP a lot of times. So a major platform ecosystem. First, it's a network of participants, and we have that little circular motion there which shows the developers, users, and partners. And the idea is that this extends into third-party developers, content creators, service providers, partners, and integrators. Why? Because we're trying to get to the whole notion of building on a core platform that allows us centralization and a management structure, a central infrastructure that enables the interactions that are going to benefit our cause. That generates network effects. Let's take 1 second to talk about network effects. We know what it is just in a practical way. It's when you get people together, good things can happen, and they often do. The platform that we use becomes more valuable as more participants join. More users attract more partners and suppliers, and more developers build better tools or apps, improving the ecosystem. There's a greater reward. It's a motivation for developers to say, hey, I can develop something here people will really want to use and use a lot of. There's motivation. And then every day, every additional, participant enhances value. Value is what we're trying to get at all the time. A value for others, a self-reinforcing loop is the way we think about that in systems thinking. So if you ever wonder this question, what's an ecosystem? Think Amazon, Uber, and Airbnb. The more people that use Amazon, the more people that use Uber, the more people that use Airbnb, the more likely it's going to get to be a better service. It's like going to McDonald's during the rush hour. It's sometimes faster than going there during the off period. Network effects occur when a product or service becomes more valuable as more people use it. So when we think about major platform ecosystems, the first one that might come to mind is something like Apple and their iOS OS system. It includes the iPhone, the iPad, the Apple Watch, the MacBook, and all those sorts. Those are the core platform elements. They all are interoperable, right? You have the cloud, the Apple cloud that you can actually jump back and forth and get data from. The participants in this particular ecosystem, there's always three things: a core platform, participants, and value creation. So the participants are app developers. Apple's known for its development day. Users like us, accessory makers, content creators. Those are the folks that actually drive the value of the system, which is apps, content, hardware, accessories, and services. Now, take some time in your leisure. I know you don't have any of that, but try and see if you can also take a look at something like Salesforce, because that's a very effective CRM. It's something that really allows us to get deeper into understanding patterns and relationships of our customers. Amazon's just amazing. I mean, I could right now sit here while I'm talking to you and probably with my iPhone order this little clicker that I use on some things. If I needed another one, I could probably find it. It's a perfect example of the long tail concept. We can talk about that if you want to, but the long tail concept is something that Amazon really gave great fuel to the engine, because it allows people to search, find, buy, do all those things in one sweep. So it's sellers, it's buyers, it's logistics partners, it's advertisers, and those are the participants. And what happens is they create value through products, fulfillment. I think about how well they're putting UPS and FedEx in a bad way, with their own trucks and their own drivers and their own distribution systems and so forth. And they're also doing some other amazing kinds of things in terms of retail. So that's one. And then take a look at Google. The Android OS and Google services are integrated as an ecosystem. It works very well together. The device manufacturers, the app developers, the users, the advertisers, similar participants, creating apps, devices, advertising, data insights. Data insight. Very important. So, when we think about major platforms, we thought about these columns that we had established in the first part of the class. And we call it marketing clouds. You can call it MarTech if you want, but it's in the cloud. And there's marketing clouds like the Adobe Experience Platform. Great one. Salesforce, Marketing Cloud. Great one. HubSpot. And they've really moved from being, much more upmarket, if you will, with more robust enterprise capabilities and really something that you would want to be your go-to, so to speak, to focus because of its ease of use and as well as its ability to integrate lots of elements. AdTech, Google's advertising ecosystem, the trade desk we talked about for trading programmatic and retail media networks that have become a major force in the advertising landscape with Amazon, Walmart, and other retailers building off first-party purchase data. I remember back in the day when Walmart was one of the first ones to have, I think it was they were bragging about a terabyte system, basically that was called Customer Link, I think it was, and they gave access to all of us that were in the provider category. I could see all the movement of my product. And now that's come full circle, where all the channels are trying to get into the mix so they can show the producer, us, the manufacturer of the goods, which the position I was in, how well their stuff is moving off the shelves. Actually giving the responsibility over to those folks for ideas and ways to move more, giving more knowledge, more information, more power. It's all about convergence, which we talked about in previous video. And convergence then leads us to something else, and that is basically the idea of a cross-category series of elements like customer experience, like Qualtrics and Medallia, and conversational AI like Drift and Intercom, and data collaboration for something like LiveRamp Safe Data, and enable privacy-safe data between brands, publishers, partners, creating new possibilities for targeting and measurement. Targeting is really a significant part of our ability to become good marketers. The more tightly we can identify who's buying our product and the messages that we need to send to motivate them to get into the consideration set, as well as to move beyond that into conversion and then, loyalty. That's what it's all about. So when we think about designing your stack, every additional participant, as we said, enhances value for others, valuable guidance in designing your ecosystem. So we begin with connect, and we want to go over to that box on the right, the purple one. We begin with connecting multiple participants. That means your internal teams. That means your external actors like the partners, influencers, tech vendors, and so forth, and the customers and audiences that interact via email even, and web and social. That moves us to centering on a core platform, a CDP, a CRM, or CMS, like we talked in the previous slide. The foundational system that unifies and activates customer data, Salesforce, HubSpot, Adobe Experience Platform. That moves us to relying on network effects. Network effects is a secret tool. The more tools integrated, the more data shared, the more insights produced, and the more personalized and valuable communications become. Where does that take us to? We require seamless orchestration. That means the journey orchestration, the content engagement, the measurement. These optimization of these platforms then must connect in real time, or interconnect, I should say, in real time. So that brings us to the finale here, and that is what is it that the landscape is all about today? It's about continued expansion, increasing integration, and transformative technologies like AI, privacy-enhancing tech, and new channels and formats. One of the things we struggle with is how do we get them to talk to one another? It's coming. It's coming. We just need to be on top of it and know how to stitch it together, so to speak. In our next video, we'll explore practical approaches to developing a strategic roadmap for your organization's communication technology. We'll look at assessment methodologies, prioritization frameworks, implementation of best practices to help you navigate this complex landscape. Thanks a lot. See you next time.